The mystery of attract money. There is an important question that many people do not dare to face: is money a tool or your master? And a question that everyone wants to know: how to earn a lot of money. We are living in a world where everyone needs money, everyone wants more money. But why do some people feel more insecure the more money they earn, while others with modest incomes still live a peaceful, meaningful life? The answer lies in how you think and use money, not in the amount of money you earn. Many people believe that wealth comes from luck, circumstances, or innate talent. But in fact, there are financial principles in the Bible that, if applied correctly, can transform anyone's life. It is no coincidence that these principles have been used by the richest people in the world to maintain and increase their wealth. However, most people do not know or do not truly understand the power of these principles. There are people who work hard all their lives but remain poor. Meanwhile, there are people who are not only rich but also getting richer. The difference lies not in the amount of money they earn, but in the way they think, manage and use money. But what is the most dangerous thing? It is when people trade everything to chase after money, but in the end still feel empty, insecure and lost. The Bible clearly warns. What good is it for a man to gain the whole world, and lose his soul? Matthew 16 verse 26. Wealth can be a blessing if used properly, but it can also become a trap if people do not understand its nature. Money can be a tool to help you achieve financial freedom, create value, help the community. But if you do not control it, it will control you. There are 3 important secrets in the Bible about money and the secret of the law of financial karma that very few people know. If understood and applied correctly, your financial life can change completely. Do you dare to face this truth and start changing today? Leave a comment below. What do you think about the relationship between money and happiness? Money is not bad, but it reflects the true nature of a person. The Bible does not teach that money is bad. But it does reveal your true self. For where your treasure is, there your heart is also. Matthew 6 verse 21. Money does not change people, it only amplifies their true nature. A selfish person, when having money, will become more greedy and insensitive. A kind person, when having money, will become more generous and help the community. The difference is not in the amount of money they have, but in how they use it. The important question: are you letting money control you, or are you using it to create real value? Money is the most powerful tool that mankind has ever created. It can make or break a person's life. It can be the lever that takes you to new heights or the chain that binds you to a never-ending cycle of greed. It's how you treat money that matters, not how much you have. A poor person can be just as obsessed with money as a rich person. But a person who understands money, no matter how little or how much, can control it instead of letting it control them. Look around you. There are people who are rich, but they still live in anxiety, stress, and insecurity. On the other hand, there are people who don't have much money, but they are always happy, peaceful, and full of positive energy. It's not the size of their bank account, it's their mindset and how they use money. Here's an interesting fact: if you want to know who a person really is, observe how they spend their money. A selfish person, when rich, will only worry about holding on to their money, worry about losing it, and find ways to accumulate more, even when they already have more than enough. On the other hand, a kind-hearted person, when they have money, will think about helping others, investing in long-term values, and creating a positive impact on the community. Money doesn't change anyone, it just makes clearer what already exists inside that person. This is why some people, when they become rich, are blinded by money. They are willing to betray friends, family, and even trade their honor just to earn more. But there are also people who, despite possessing huge fortunes, still live simply, still give without hesitation, because they don't let money define them. Which group do you belong to? Many people believe that when they have more money, they will live better, worry less. But in reality, many people feel more deprived the more they earn. Why? Because greed never has limits. People start with a stable job, want a raise. When they have a high salary, they want to buy a luxury car. When they have a car, they want a bigger house. When they have a house, they want more real estate. And the cycle continues, without end. They no longer enjoy what they have, but only chase after what they do not have. Look at the CEOs who were arrested for financial fraud, the billionaires who collapsed because of risky investments. Do they lack money? No. But they never feel enough, because they let money control them. Money is not the fault is in people who do not know when to stop. If you let greed lead you, money will become a burden instead of a blessing. Look at the great philanthropists of the world, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey. They are people who have enormous wealth, but they do not let it control them. They know that the value of money is not in the accumulation of it, but in how it is used. Money can help you create real change. It can open the door to education for poor children, provide healthcare for those who cannot afford it, build stronger communities. The difference between a rich person and a person with great vision is not how much money they make, but how they make that money work. Are you using money to accumulate for yourself, or are you using it to invest in the greater good? There are rich people who are still worried and insecure. They are haunted by the thought of losing money, afraid that one day it will all disappear. They live in fear, not in the freedom that money is supposed to bring. But there are also people who, despite not having much money, are happy. They understand that money is just a tool, not a measure of a person's worth. If you think that having a lot of money will change you, think again. You don't have to wait until you are rich to start being generous. If you don't dare to give even a little today, even if you have millions of dollars, you will never be ready. Money is not inherently good or bad, but how you use it. It can be a powerful tool to help you build a better life, or it can be a trap that drags you into a cycle of never having enough. If you let money define you, you will always feel lacking. But if you use money responsibly, you will find true freedom. Money can turn a good person into a great person, but it can also turn a greedy person into an immoral person. It doesn't change people, it just reveals their true nature. If you want to know who a person is, observe how they use their money. A generous person when they don't have much money will be even more generous when they have money. A stingy person when they are poor will still be that way when they have money. Money is just a tool, not the end goal of life. If you use it properly, it will help you achieve great things. But if you let it control you, you will always chase after it and never feel satisfied. The important question is not how much money you have, but what you do with that money. Are you using it to create real value, or are you letting it control you? Money is not evil, but it is a reflection of you. So who are you? There is a secret of the law of financial cause and effect: what you sow, you reap. The Bible has a clear principle about finances: he who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. 2 Corinthians 9 verse 6, this is not just a philosophical statement, in fact, it is the foundation of all financial success. Rich people don't just make money, they know how to put money to work for them. They understand that money can't just sit there, it needs to circulate, invest in productive assets, expand relationships, create value, and have a positive impact on the world around them. Conversely, many people make the mistake of holding on to their money but not knowing how to invest it. They let fear control their decisions, thinking that extreme savings are the best way to secure their finances. But the biggest mistake is not losing money, but being so afraid of losing it that you don't dare to invest. When you don't let your money circulate, you are denying your assets the opportunity to grow. Successful people don't let money sit idle, they make it work for them. They understand that accumulating wealth is not about holding on to money, but about making smart investments in things that generate a continuous cash flow. They invest in real estate, stocks, businesses, knowledge, even relationships, anything that can help money multiply over time. So what stops most people from investing? Fear. They fear losing money, fear of failure, fear of being scammed, fear of not being smart enough to make the right decisions. But the truth is that not investing is riskier than investing. Because when you hold money for too long without doing anything with it, inflation will silently eat away at your purchasing power, making the money you hold lose value. $100 today will not buy what $100 could buy 10 years ago. Meanwhile, the rich understand that investing is not a game of chance. They do not throw money impulsively, but they research, learn, and analyze before making a decision. They are not afraid of failure, because they know that each failure is a lesson for them to invest more intelligently in the future. One of the reasons the rich get richer is because they don't make money by simply trading their time for money, but by building financial systems that automatically generate income. They create passive income streams from investments, businesses, and high-value assets. Poor people, on the other hand, spend their lives working for money instead of having money work for them. They focus on active income, meaning if they stop working, their income stops. But rich people understand that passive income is more important than active income. They invest in assets that generate cash flow even when they sleep. That's why rich people don't have to work as hard as poor people, but still make more money. Think about the most successful people you know. Do they seem to be busy all day working like a normal person? No. They have created systems that run and generate income for themselves, giving them more time to be creative, enjoy life, and continue to grow their wealth. The important question is, what are you sowing? If you are only working for money and not investing it, you are missing out on the opportunity to multiply your wealth. If you are holding on to your money and not investing it, you are letting fear control you instead of your money. If you are not taking the time to learn about finances, you are letting ignorance hold you back. Here's an important truth that few people realize: wealth doesn't come from extreme saving, but from knowing how to plant and invest strategically. Poor people often think they need to have a lot of money first before they can invest. But rich people do the opposite: they invest first, plant first, and let their assets grow over time. You may be thinking, but I don't have the money to invest. Wrong. You don't have to be rich to start investing, but you do have to invest to get rich. Even if you only have a small amount of money, you can still get started with the right investments for you. It's not how much money you have, it's how much you're willing to plant. One of the most effective investment strategies of the rich is to diversify their income sources. They do not put all their eggs in one basket, but they allocate assets into many different channels to minimize risk and maximize profits. If one source of income has problems, they still have other sources to maintain financial stability. Have you ever wondered why wealthy people always find ways to give more? They understand that giving is part of the law of financial karma. When you are generous, you not only help others, but you also expand your own opportunities. The world's most successful entrepreneurs have their own charitable foundations not only because they want to help their communities, but because they understand that investing in people is one of the highest returns on investment. So what do you do now? You can continue to live with the fear of losing money, or you can start changing your mindset and taking action right now. Remember, you can't reap what you don't sow. If you want a secure financial future, start sowing today. But planting is just the first step. To truly achieve wealth, you need to know how to hold and manage assets wisely. Many people believe that to become rich, they just need to make a lot of money. But in reality, the amount of money you make is not as important as how you manage and use it. A person with a high income but uncontrolled spending can become poor quickly, while a person with an average income but knows how to manage money wisely can build sustainable wealth over time. The borrower is a slave to the lender. Proverbs 22 verse 7. This is why wealthy people do not spend money emotionally. They understand that to truly achieve financial freedom, they need to control their money instead of letting it control them. Look at the reality: there are many people who have won millions of dollars in the lottery, but after only a few years, they are bankrupt. Why? Because they never learned how to keep money. They believe that just having money is enough, but the truth is that without the right financial management strategy, money will disappear faster than you think. Financially successful people are not only concerned with making money, they are also focused on how to keep money and make it grow. That is the real secret of wealth. Think of money as a flowing river. If you don't control its flow, it will overflow and disappear. But if you channel it in the right direction, you can build a full reservoir where water can continue to flow in and never run out. This is how rich people think about finances. They don't just make money, they keep money and make it work for them instead of just trading time for money. One of the core principles that the wealthy follow is to keep a portion of their income before spending it. They understand that if you spend all your money without saving or investing it, you will never get out of the financial rut. The principle of paying yourself first means that every time they receive income, they set aside a portion to save or invest before spending it on anything else. This ensures that they always have money set aside for investment opportunities, instead of falling into the trap of spending everything before thinking about saving. In addition to keeping money, the rich are also very cautious about borrowing. They understand that not all loans are bad, but if left unchecked, debt can turn into a huge burden. They only borrow money when it is an investment that can generate income, such as buying rental properties, investing in businesses, or assets that increase in value over time. They stay away from unnecessary consumer loans, because they know that living on borrowed money is the fastest way to become a financial slave. A common mistake many people make is that they work all their lives but never let their money work for them. They spend decades trading their time for money without thinking about creating passive income. Rich people, on the other hand, understand that the cash flow must continue to flow even when they are not working. They invest in productive assets such as stocks, real estate, businesses, or investments that generate a steady stream of income. They do not rely on a single source of income, but instead look for ways to diversify their income to protect themselves from financial risks. Here's a surprising fact: not everyone who makes a lot of money is rich. A doctor who makes $500,000 a year but spends it all on luxury cars, lavish vacations, and large home loans can still be in financial trouble. Meanwhile, someone who makes $80,000 a year but saves 30% of their income and invests wisely can become much richer over time. Rich people are also very good at controlling their spending. They understand that just because they earn a lot of money, they don't have the right to spend lavishly. They spend strategically, focusing on things that bring long-term value instead of luxury items that are just for status. They understand the difference between liabilities and assets, and they prioritize investing in things that help them build wealth instead of spending money to satisfy short-term needs. So how can you apply these principles to your life? First, create a personal financial management system. This can be as simple as setting up a monthly budget, automatically transferring a portion of your income into a savings or investment account, and closely tracking your cash flow. Second, learn to leverage the power of compound interest. If you start investing early and stick with it over many years, even a small amount of money can turn into a huge fortune. Warren Buffett didn't become a billionaire by winning the lottery or being lucky, but by starting to invest at a young age and letting his money work for him for decades. Another important lesson is to never spend based on emotions. When you let your emotions control your finances, it's easy to get caught up in unnecessary purchases, impulse investments, or unplanned loans. Rich people think long-term, asking themselves, will this financial decision get me closer to my financial goals? If the answer is no, they won't do it. Finally, understand that true wealth is not just about having a lot of money, but about having financial freedom. If you have to work all your life to maintain your lifestyle, you are not truly rich. Rich people build financial systems so that they can stop working and still have money flowing into their accounts. They achieve this by investing wisely, controlling their spending, avoiding bad debt, and letting their money work for them instead of the other way around. So are you in control of your cash flow? Or are you working hard but still feeling like it's never enough? If you don't change the way you manage your finances, the money you earn will never matter. Don't let your cash flow slip through your fingers, start keeping it and making it grow today. But controlling your cash flow is only part of the equation. To truly achieve prosperity, you need to change your financial mindset from the ground up. Rich mindset: what you think, you will be. Prosperity is a blessing from God if used properly. However, not everyone achieves prosperity, because the biggest difference between rich people and poor people is not the amount of money they make, but how they think about money. People with a poverty mindset always think that they cannot change their fate, that they were born into that situation and there is no way out. They look at money with anxiety, doubt, and even fear. They believe that rich people are just lucky or cheated to get successful. In contrast, people with a prosperity mindset believe that everything can change if they have a plan and discipline. They know that wealth is not the result of luck, but the result of the right mindset, smart decisions, and persistent action. Rich people are not afraid to talk about money because they understand its nature. They do not see money as an end goal, but as a tool to achieve a larger goal. They do not earn money just to spend, but to create more value. They understand that wealth is not just about the balance in their bank account, but also about how they use money to improve their quality of life and help others. The difference between people with a rich mindset and people with a poor mindset is evident in how they react to money. When faced with an investment opportunity, people with a poor mindset will immediately think of the risk and reject it, while people with a rich mindset will research, evaluate, and consider ways to effectively take advantage of that opportunity. People with a poor mindset often set limits for themselves, while people with a rich mindset always look for ways to overcome their limits and develop themselves. One of the most important elements of a wealthy mindset is the ability to control emotions around money. Poor people often let their emotions guide their financial decisions. They spend emotionally, invest on impulse, and are afraid to take risks. Meanwhile, rich people always make decisions based on logic, data, and long-term strategies. They understand that to achieve sustainable wealth, they need to control their emotions and not let short-term fluctuations affect their long-term financial plans. People with a wealthy mindset also know the value of learning and growing. They never think they know enough, but are always looking to improve themselves every day. They read books, learn from successful people, take courses, and expand their knowledge of finance, business, and investing. They understand that knowledge is the greatest asset, and investing in yourself is the investment with the highest return. Another important aspect of a rich mindset is focusing on solutions rather than problems. When faced with financial difficulties, people with a poor mindset often complain and blame their circumstances, while people with a rich mindset will immediately find a way to solve the problem and learn from their failures. They understand that every failure is a lesson, and they use those lessons to become stronger and more successful in the future. People with a poverty mindset often think, "I can't," or "it's not for me," while people with a wealth mindset always ask, "How can I achieve it?" They don't accept reality as something that cannot be changed, but instead seek to change reality in their favor. One of the biggest mistakes people with a poverty mindset make is that they underestimate the power of time and compound interest. They fail to realize that a small investment today can become a huge asset in the future if invested properly. Meanwhile, people with a wealth mindset understand that patience and a long-term investment strategy are the keys to achieving financial prosperity. Rich people don't just focus on making money, they also focus on building passive income streams. They understand that working to make money is just the first step, but if they want to be truly financially free, they need to have income streams that can continue to generate money even when they're not working. This is why they invest in real estate, stocks, businesses, and investments that generate a continuous cash flow. Another important aspect of the wealthy mindset is the ability to take calculated risks. Poor people are often so afraid of losing money that they never invest in anything. Meanwhile, rich people understand that risk is part of success, and they learn to manage risk instead of avoiding it. They do not invest haphazardly, but they do thorough research, develop a plan, and make informed decisions. People with a wealthy mindset also understand that giving is an important part of prosperity. They focus not only on accumulating wealth for themselves, but also on helping others, investing in their communities, and making a positive impact on society. They know that true wealth lies not only in what you have, but also in what you can contribute to the world. Ultimately, the wealthy mindset is about personal responsibility. Rich people don't blame the government, the economy, or anyone else for their financial circumstances. They understand that they are the only ones responsible for their lives, and if they want to change, they need to take action immediately. They don't wait for opportunities to come to them, they create them for themselves. Do you have a rich mindset or a poor mindset? Are you in control of your finances, or are you letting your circumstances control you? If you want to change your financial life, start by changing your mindset today. But whether you have a rich mindset or not, there is something more important. True wealth is not only measured by assets, but also by peace of mind. Whether you are rich or poor, trust God. The Bible teaches, "What good is it for a man to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his soul?" Matthew 16 verse 26. This question challenges the value people place on material wealth. We live in a world where money can buy almost anything: power, comfort, fame, but the most important thing, peace of mind, cannot be bought at any price. There is nothing wrong with seeking prosperity, but if you let it replace spiritual values, you can achieve all you want materially, but still feel empty inside. Money can solve many problems. It can bring a comfortable life, open up many opportunities and help others. But what it cannot do is bring true peace. People who put all their value in material things still feel empty in the end. They chase after frivolous things, buy expensive things to fill the void in their souls, but that emptiness cannot be covered by money. Without a solid spiritual foundation, all you can achieve is a cold but luxurious wall. The world is filled with stories of people who have it all and yet have nothing. Rich and famous people who struggle with loneliness, depression, and insecurity. They have achieved what many dream of, but why are they still unhappy? Because money is not the answer. It can help you avoid financial worries, but it cannot fill the spiritual void that only faith in God can. The Bible prayer is, "Give me this day my daily bread." Matthew 6 verse 11. No one can control the future, but the wise person knows that everything comes from God and puts his trust in Him. When you understand that everything you have is not due to your own strength but a blessing from God, you will learn to be grateful and not let money control you. There is a truth that few people want to admit: many people spend their whole lives chasing after money, but in the end, when they have it all, they realize that they have lost the most important things: family, health, and especially peace of mind. This happens because they have set the wrong priorities from the beginning. They think that if they have a lot of money, they will be happy. But happiness does not come from the bank balance, but from knowing enough and trusting in God. The rich are not wrong to seek prosperity, but they need to understand that true prosperity is not just about having a lot of possessions, but also about having a rich soul. A rich soul is a soul that knows how to share, knows how to love, knows how to appreciate the things that money cannot buy. Look at the richest people who live a life filled with stress, fear of loss, and never feel satisfied. And look at those who have a strong faith in God. Whether they are rich or poor, they still have true peace and joy. If you put all your trust in money, you will always be worried. But if you put your trust in God, you will have peace even in difficult times. This does not mean that you should not work hard or strive for success. But it does mean that you should not let financial success define your worth. True wealth is the peace of knowing that God will always be with you, no matter what your circumstances. There is a story about a successful businessman who made millions of dollars, had a big house, fancy cars, and everything that others dream of. But inside, he felt empty. He worked hard, but still felt like something was missing. One day, he met a poor man who was always happy and at peace. When he asked the poor man how he could be happy even though he had little money, the man replied, "I have everything I need, because I have God." That was when the businessman realized that no matter how much wealth he had, he still lacked the most important thing, faith in God. People who put all their value in material things still end up feeling empty. They don't understand that true value doesn't come from external things, but from the soul within. You can have a comfortable life with everything, but without God, you will still feel a void that nothing can fill. Look at people with strong faith. They may go through hardships, but they still have peace. They do not let money control their lives. They know that money is a tool, not an end goal. They use their wealth to help others, to do good, instead of just accumulating it for themselves. This is the difference between a person who is rich in spirit and a person who is only rich in material things. One of the most important things the Bible teaches about money is to be content. Give me this day my daily bread. Matthew 6 verse 11, this verse reminds us that God always provides for us, and that instead of worrying about the future, we should trust in Him. When you have faith in God, you no longer have to worry about tomorrow, because you know that He is with you and will take care of you. There are many people who are so afraid of losing money that they never really enjoy what they have. They are always thinking about making more, holding on to more, but they fail to realize that life is not just about accumulating wealth, but about using it meaningfully. People with faith in God understand that true wealth is not in what you own, but in how you live. Money can buy you a house, but it can't buy a happy family. It can buy you a comfortable bed, but it can't give you a peaceful night's sleep. It can buy you a luxurious vacation, but it can't buy you peace of mind. This is why many wealthy people feel empty. They seek comfort on the outside, but they neglect peace on the inside. Remember that God is your true source of supply. When you put your trust in Him, you will no longer worry about money, because you know that everything comes from Him. When you understand that your worth is not determined by your possessions, but by your faith, you will find a peace that nothing can replace. Whether you are rich or poor, always remember that money is not everything. True prosperity is having a peaceful mind, a strong faith, and a meaningful life. And that can only come when you put your trust in God. But faith in God does not mean passive waiting. You still need to work, but work more wisely and effectively. Work smarter, not harder. The Bible encourages hard work, but not in a way that is exhausting and ineffective. Working hard can help you earn a living, but working smart will help you achieve financial freedom and enjoy life to the fullest. Rich people understand that instead of just working harder, they need to work smarter. They know that success comes not from working endlessly, but from how they use their time, energy, and resources strategically. Look at the most successful people in the world. They don't work 80 hours a week, but they still make millions of dollars a year. Why? Because they focus on things that create value instead of the trivial tasks. They understand that the value of time is more important than the number of hours worked. An office worker can work 10 hours a day and still not get far, while an entrepreneur can make 10 times more money in just 4 hours of productive work. It's not how many hours you work, it's what you do with that time. The rich don't get caught in the trap of working just for a paycheck. They understand that active income is limited, but passive income can expand infinitely. They don't rely on just one source of income, but instead look to build systems that generate passive income, from financial investments, to automated businesses, to intellectual property. When you work just for money, your income is limited by the time you have. But when you set up financial systems that can operate without your direct involvement, you create true freedom. Another key secret of successful people is that they know when to delegate to optimize their time. They don't try to do everything themselves. They understand that their time is valuable, and if they can hire someone to do a job for less than their time is worth, it's a smart investment. They focus on the tasks that bring them the highest returns and delegate the smaller tasks to others. Think of a CEO of a large company. They don't do their own accounting, write emails, or answer the phone. They spend their time on the most important strategies while their team takes care of other tasks. A common mistake many people make is that they think that working harder will automatically lead to success. But the reality is, if you work without a strategy, you will just burn out without achieving anything. Working harder does not mean working better. If you don't take the time to think, plan, and optimize the way you work, you may be wasting a lot of your time on unimportant tasks. One of the smartest ways to work is to use technology to automate tasks. Rich people don't do things manually, they use technology to make their lives easier. They use software to manage their finances, automate business processes, and increase personal productivity. For example, instead of spending hours each day checking email, they set up systems that automatically filter and prioritize important emails. They don't spend hours entering data because they use tools that automate it. Successful people understand that time is their most precious resource, and they protect their time by eliminating time wasters that don't add value. They don't spend hours mindlessly scrolling through social media, they don't waste time in unnecessary meetings, and they don't let small tasks distract them from their bigger goals. Another principle of working smart is leveraging. Leverage can be people, technology, systems, finances, anything that can help you achieve more without working more. A successful entrepreneur doesn't do it all by himself, he uses leverage to scale. A smart investor doesn't just use his own money, he uses other people's money to grow his wealth. Leverage allows you to double, triple, or even tenfold your results without having to work 10 times as hard. A real-world example: an employee can work 40 hours a week to earn $5,000 a month, but a smart worker can earn $50,000 a month working just 20 hours. The difference is not in the number of hours worked, but in how they optimized the value of their time. Rich people also understand that their level of success depends not only on what they do, but also on what they don't do. They know how to say no to unsuitable opportunities, unimportant tasks, and tasks that don't contribute to their larger goals. They don't try to do everything, but instead focus on the things that will yield the greatest results. One of the most important things about working smart is knowing your worth. Many people work in jobs that they don't enjoy, that don't offer growth, and that don't help them reach their financial goals. Successful people don't get stuck in dead-end jobs. They aren't afraid to make changes, learn new skills, and look for better opportunities. Smart workers also know how to harness the power of relationships. They understand that one conversation with the right person can be worth more than a year of hard work. They build networks, connect with people who can help them get ahead, and learn from those who have already succeeded. They are not afraid to ask for help, seek advice from those more experienced, and collaborate with people who share their vision. Working smarter also means taking time to think and plan. Many people work all day without stopping to think about what they are doing and why they are doing it. But successful people take time every day to evaluate their strategy, adjust course if necessary, and make sure they are on the right path to achieving their goals. One of the biggest differences between rich and poor people is how they approach problems. Poor people often work more is better, while rich people find ways to work less but be more effective. They don't measure success by the number of hours they work, but by the actual results they achieve. If you want to achieve financial freedom, you need to change the way you work. You can't just work hard, you need to work smart. You need to learn how to focus on the most important things, create passive income systems, leverage, and delegate tasks to optimize your time. Success doesn't come from the number of hours you work, but from how you use that time most effectively. If you want to achieve more without burning out, learn how to work smart today. Money is, after all, a tool, one of the most powerful tools ever created by man. It has the power to build or destroy, to create or to corrupt. But money itself is neutral. It does not change people, it only reveals who they truly are. A selfish person, when given wealth, will only become more selfish, holding on to every dollar, fearing loss, and accumulating more for the sake of accumulating more. Meanwhile, a generous person, when given abundance, will give more away, understanding that true wealth is not about having but about having impact. The real question is, what does money reveal about you? Do you use it to create value, help others, and build a life of purpose? Or do you let it define your worth, control your emotions, and determine your happiness? Look around you, there are wealthy individuals who live in fear, constantly worrying about losing what they have. And there are those who have little but live in peace, because they understand that money is just a means, not an end. So, how do you view money? Does it serve you or do you serve it? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Is money controlling your life or are you using it wisely to build something greater? Let's discuss.